Oh yeah, man. The WNBA season, man. It's in full swing, man. We got a lot of action. We got a lot of things that we saw from day one on Saturday, followed up by some great games on Mother's Day. And a lot of focus right now is on the Indiana Fever because the Indiana Fever are getting all nationally televised games, 44 games. And there's a lot of attention on them, especially on Caitlin Clark. And the reason why there's a lot of attention on Caitlin Clark, because you know what the narrative is out there, is let Caitlin Clark get the ball and everybody else get out of the way and let her run the show and disregard what the coach says. It's a lot of things that Stephanie White said today at shoot around. She taking a shot at Caitlin Clark about her defense. You are now tuned into a brand new episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. We got to talk about it. It's Stephanie White sending shots out to Caitlin Clark on her individual defense. We're going to talk about it right after this.
Let me put you on game. These other podcasts out here talking that shit, but ain't repping the same. It's my bro K-Sap, talking up topics for your outfits, from politics to your top hits. Tune in, you gotta watch this. Exclusive material for your radio, stereo, pumping high definition. Stop what you doing and listen. We smashing all competition. You better jump on this wave. Somebody pass me a mic, man. I got something to say.
Well, guys, you know I got something to say, man. Let's talk about the Indiana Fever, man. Let's talk about what Stephanie White had to say at shoot around today. Basically coming off of the loss to the Dallas Wings in their season opener at home, 107-104. And when you score 104 points offensively, you should basically win that game. But if you can't get stops and your defense is atrocious, it has to be looked at. And Stephanie White has some things to say, you know, at shoot around today, preparing for their trip to Los Angeles to play the Los Angeles Sparks. And a lot of emphasis have been on Caitlin Clark, but also a lot of emphasis has been on their defense, because Stephanie White is a defensive specialist, and Stephanie White last year was one game away from going to the WNBA finals, but they just lost to a more superior team. And on that run, noticeably missing was Caitlin Clark. The Indiana Fever's offense looked totally different, and their defense looked totally different because they was able to get stops. You didn't have to cover for nobody. Everybody was playing on-ball defense, and things was looking real nice. So now everybody's complaining about Stephanie White is utilizing Caitlin wrong, wants her to play off the ball. But see, a lot of people want to focus on Caitlin Clark's offensive abilities and her transitional play and her great passing and the IQ that she has to hit the open man when that man is open. But they don't focus on the defensive end of the ball. And this is where you're going to be able to get stops, and defense wins championships, offense sells tickets. Caitlin Clark has a problem with playing defense, and a lot of people have spoke about it when she entered the league, even going back all the way to her Iowa days. So, and also, you got to be able to protect the ball offensively. You can't turn the ball over carelessly. But defensive issues stand out. They're glaring. And I think Stephanie White said some things today in the shoot around that caught my attention, because there's certain plays in that Dallas Wings game where we saw Caitlin Clark raising her hands, complaining to the officials. And Stephanie White made mention of that. That's why I said, is she taking a shot at Caitlin Clark? Is she telling Caitlin Clark, you need to play some defense? I'm going to let y'all listen to what Stephanie White said, and then I'm going to come back and tell you why I think this is a direct shot to Caitlin Clark. Let's take a listen.
104 points, and we're still pretty much in our infancy level in terms of playing together. So that's going to continue to get better. But when you score 104 points, you got to win the game. And we gave up 107, so we need to focus on our defense.
And then what is it defensively that you guys are going to try to work on this week as you get ready for 3 games here?
Well, transition defense, we've got to be better at getting matched up in transition, of getting back in transition, of not giving up so many easy looks.
Listen.
And ball screen defense. Those are 2 areas that were glaring weaknesses in game 1, and so we're going to continue to work on that.
What's it for you guys going on the road for the first time this season? What's the mindset or the mentality as you guys get a chance to go out to LA and try to get the first win?
Just continue to get better. Get 1% better every day. We want to clean up some of the things that we had breakdown-wise on the defensive end against Dallas, and we'll look to clean it up against LA.
With the defensive breakdowns in transition, is that just maybe, what do you chalk that up to? Is it fatigue? Is it just players still getting up to speed? How do you do that?
I think it's quite a few things. One, I think it's awareness. If you got either offensive rebound or you got to get back and get matched up. I think too, it's looking for your man in transition, and it's always near man transition. And then I think there's just a urgency to transition from offense to defense. Sometimes it was too busy looking at the refs. Sometimes it was pressure in the ball in the backcourt with multiple players instead of one. Sometimes it was taking chances in the backcourt, and sometimes they just beat us down the floor. So we've got to be able to transition our bodies and our minds quickly from one to the other. We don't have a problem doing it on offensive end, so we got to lock into doing it on the defense.
Shots fired.
This is kind of an unusual road trip. Like, you don't usually go out all the way to LA for one game. How do you prioritize, rest, wellness, going that far?
Yeah, it's crazy scheduling to go out for a one-off when you're crossing 3 time zones. I don't know that you see this in other sports leagues that have more teams. So we'll go out a day early. We'll get adjusted, and not only are we crossing 3 time zones and playing 1 game, but we got to come back and play 48 hours later or however long it is. So we'll have to come back and prioritize rest on our day in between, and then be locked in to prep for Washington on Friday.
Now, you heard what Stephanie White had to say. And guys, this is what I want to point out to you. Stephanie White made emphasis on transitional defense, getting matched up. How many times did Odyssey Sims blow by Caitlin Clark in transition? How many times did Caitlin Clark not get matched up with a man in transition? Then she pointed out, we got to do better in the ball screen. How many times was Caitlin Clark put in the action on the pick and roll? Think about that. How many times was she put in action on the pick and roll? How many times did Odyssey Sims blow by her in transition? How many times did you see Caitlin Clark complaining to the refs? Everything that Stephanie White said in shoot around, that is basically taking a shot at her star player in Caitlin Clark, letting her know you have to be better defensively. You got to take it upon yourself to play defense. And Stephanie White is not using no excuses for Caitlin Clark. Stephanie White is out there coaching to get victories. She's not coddling and catering to Caitlin Clark on everything that these other people are doing. This is a team game. They got pieces, but if you don't want to do it defensively, you're going to fall short every time. And everybody, when Angel Reese said about her rebounds and playing defense, that's her calling card and that's her staple, and that's how you're going to win championships. Now everybody agrees. Now everybody is starting to see that Caitlin Clark falls short defensively. Now I see a lot of the Caitlin Clark YouTube content creators in the media space talking about her lack of defense. So we got to stop making excuses for Caitlin Clark. Stephanie White's not, and she just threw some shots toward Caitlin Clark, whether you like it or not. I see everybody in the comments section, #salute. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, turn your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. Oh yeah, just in case I forgot. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but it might be for them. And this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. Catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.